Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast. We are season 5, episode 10. I just got a message that this is not going on Twitter. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We're going to keep it rolling. Now, my internet's screwed up, right, Mike?
We're good.
All good. Okay. Well, this is season 5, episode 10 of the GASOCast, presented by Ballogy. A couple things of housekeeping. Fast break. Loaded with prospects. Subscribe now. Grassroots coverage. We have a lot of it. We have the 2026 rankings coming out on Friday. We've been working on that all week. College Station's coming up. Man, we got some loaded brackets there. ATX in a couple weeks. Make sure you're there for that. And as always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. But follow us on Instagram. We're going a little more Instagram. So before we get into grassroots, let's talk about anything that's on your mind. Michael, I'll let you tip this one off.
Yeah, Mass, you're new to the program. You haven't been on GASOcast in a while. Y'all are doing your thing with a cup of hoops, but we start off every GASOcast now. Just it could be a rant negatively or positively. Usually, Lyndon talks about the stars, but he can't talk about them right now. So I'll get it kicked off. The feeling of summer vacation. It's the one thing as an adult you can't replicate unless you're a teacher, maybe. But just that nostalgic feeling, I wish I could recreate that last day of school before summer, whether you're riding the bus home or whatever it may be, just that feeling, man. Like I get to see all these kids on social media being like last day of school. But even more importantly, shout out to those that have been graduating. Very great honor for you and your family. So, but yeah, just the last day of school, man. It's just the one thing I wish I could feel again because it was unlike any other. So yeah, summer vacation is here. So have fun. Have fun, kids.
I would mourn the start of school. It was terrible. Enjoy it. You
I
are the
also
furthest point away, kids. Enjoy it.
I also feel like when we were in elementary school, there was like 3 months of I just felt like I was off for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lyndon, as a teacher and coach, did you feel that feeling also? Like, was it a similar feeling of the last day of school?
That last 3:30 Friday of in service, whenever we could hit the road, it was yeah, we're celebrating that for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. I love it. I love it.
Lyndon?
Yeah, I was just thinking the other night, and I think it was mostly during that OKC Minnesota game 4 where we had the foul parade at the end of this, and there's just been way too many games this playoffs postseason where it just turns into, okay, the easiest way to win these games and close this out is just we're just going to foul. We're just going to foul. Do where the last minute of a game takes 30 because of not just fouls, but we're also going to review the fouls, and we got to go make sure that they weren't flagrant or technical or whatever. Like, there's got to be a simpler way. For all the money that's spent into the analytical side of things, and I get it's the right thing to do. As a coach, I used to um, foul up 3 just because it's the smarter thing to do, but that kills the entertainment. Like, for somebody who doesn't watch a ton of just casual NBA, uh, unless Luke is on basically this year, um, basically, yeah, you're really hurting the product. So let's try to get that figured out. At least for the NBA. I don't, college, high school. It's great strategy. Do whatever you got to do to win, but it's entertainment.
All right. I got one, and this is
Step up to the plate. Step up to the plate. Let's see what you got.
It's time. I'm back. I'm back. So obviously, I'm going to do a good one. And kids, I know y'all are using the AI. I use a lot of AI, but there is something going around, and it's an easy way to catch people cheating or catch people using AI in a lazy way. And it's the double dash. So ChatGPT spits out the double dash when responding to something or writing something, and they use it, and it's not something that's super common in our vernacular. So kids, don't be lazy. Use the comma. Change the double dash into a comma. In the professional world, I've read some things where recruiters won't even, like, if you respond with a resume and it has a dash in it, they're automatically deleting you. And I'm just like, just use the comma. So I thought that was an interesting one with this AI buzz going. Kids, if you're using it, make sure to take out your double dashes. Don't be lazy when you use AI. So that's my rant. How did I do, Michael? You're about to bust.
6 out of 10.
Oh man.
No, that was good. Do you think like it's the same thing with like plagiarizing? Like if a teacher's hip to the AI, they'll see dashes and be like, oh, this was just generated. Obviously, there's other ways to see that it's generated from ChatGPT, but that's a big giveaway. Did Mass mute himself? Am I tripping?
Yeah, he's muted. Yeah.
Oh, baby. Got to carry the ship here.
Oh man, here we go.
As Matt tries to figure out his mute button. Tough scene for the kid as we're talking about just AI and things like that. Okay, well, luckily, we'll move on to this next segment as Matt tries to figure it out because he won't be down there with us this weekend. But we are going to Brian.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I got something to say. All right? Hold on. You were saying you were talking about plagiarizing. I have a real rant that I can go on. Teachers should be wanting kids to use AI because it is the future, and stop getting all upset that they're using it to write papers. It's about synthesizing the information, teachers. Wake up. We need to use AI. Hot. That's a 10.
Clip it. Clip it.
I ain't touching that.
I'm out of the teaching world and I'm not coming back. I'm out.
Let's talk about College Station a little bit, or Brian this weekend. Yep. You won't be there. You're a little busy. But give us some of your thoughts before we talk on like what Brian the GASO has meant to you since you started at GASO. Like, what are some of your memories with it?
Yeah, it's always been super competitive, and it's also been a time that I can just get a lot of scouting done. When we're in DFW, man, like we're getting pulled in a million different directions. And Brian is a time, especially with the new Legends facility, where you have 8 courts under one roof, and you can see a lot of basketball and a lot of like, just the pace is a little different, and it's a lot more watching and evaluating. I'm really bummed to miss this weekend actually, but it's always loaded. This week is no different. The bracket style is just the best because it's no showcase. It's not all this stuff. It's just let's roll the balls out, let's play, and let's advance. And it being a 2-day event because of the NCAA regionals being out there and us adjusting and making it happen, I think it's going to be even more special because it's going to be like 30 hours of high-level basketball, and we're out.
No, for sure.
What are you looking forward to?
Well, Lyndon, I want you to kind of elaborate because you say it well, like the tradition. Talk about the tradition. Like you and I have been around since what, 2014, 2015?
Yeah.
Like, and it's been like a hub of like high level Dallas, Austin, Houston matchups. And we could have one coming up this week.
Yeah. It's gonna be like the great neutral site where a lot of DFW teams meet up with a lot of Houston teams. I remember back, I think it was either 2019 or maybe 20. Yeah, it was definitely 2019, where it is Texas Titans with Cade, with Mike Miles, with Greg Brown, with all those cats that they had, and they're playing against Team Harden with Bryce Griggs, Eddie Lampkin with the defenders. LJ Cryer was there that weekend. Like just huge names and those type of matchups. When I was still playing, Brian was, where you'd have Texas Titans versus Team Texas versus the best that Houston had to offer. And it was just, that traditional, just a great neutral site to kind of like change it up in the summer where it's not DFW team, just one of them going to Houston and playing, or one Houston team coming up for the weekend. You seem to have a great, balance and mix of talented teams from both places, and we'll always have some great teams from San Antonio and Austin area coming over, like we do this weekend.
Absolutely.
Mike, what
But
bracket are
it
you
is
looking forward to? Yeah, go for it.
yeah, bracket play wise. Well, like you said, Mass, it's special. Like bracket play doesn't matter if it's a 16 team 32. We'll have a 64 team bracket in July. But I mean, anytime you get put in a bracket, it's just like it's no nonsense. And in the days of where there's just so many different requests, there's no request here. You come and hoop. And that red bracket is pretty wide open in my opinion. I will say this: Elevate U's won a ton of GASOs this year, but there's definitely some roadblocks. And I've looked at it multiple times, and I just don't really know what's going to happen. There's some teams that I'm excited to come back that are going to be coming back to GASO that have won a GASO before, but there's just teams lurking, and I'm very curious. And like you say, it's a 2-day event, so it's not like a 3-day. So we're going to get some answers very, very quickly. So I'm excited for that.
It'll be a lot of fun, and y'all did a phenomenal job throwing those brackets together. A quick message from our sponsor, Ballogy. Ballogy and GASO are launching the 10K Shot Club. This is new and a pretty sweet idea. It's at the beginning of the summer, a 10-week challenge for GASO people who are in our ecosystem to prove that they know how to work. Okay, so starting June 1st, you can track all of your shots on Ballogy's AI Vision. And if you hit 1,000 in a week, you'll get featured in the GASO Fast Break. If you hit 10,000 in the summer, you're going to get featured in our Fast Break. So really cool, really fun to make sure, I think the shine gets put on grassroots, like this lifestyle. But in the reality, you've got to continue to get better and develop. So I love this idea. And you have to do 4 things. You got to download the Ballogy app. You got to create a profile. You got to use the access code, which I'm going to put under. I've put in the YouTube description. I'm going to put under the this tweet for the live with the access code, and then start tracking your work with Ballogy Vision. Anybody can do the work. We love to see it. Go get better this summer. All right, let's hop back in. Running it back. Y'all are going this week. We got a lot of returning teams, like you mentioned earlier, Michael, that are going to be making a real run. And who's a prospect in particular that you are really excited to see that's coming back, and that's you're thinking it's going to make some noise in the bracket? Mike?
Yeah, Matthew Holland of Houston Hoops Syntex Miller. They won our ATX tip-off, and he got it busy all 3 levels. You just continued to watch him throughout the week. He was hitting the 3, getting to the rim, started dunk on kids, hitting the midi. Just his approach, and there's one, like I talked about earlier, this bracket's wide open for a reason, and there's players like Matthew Holland out there and teams like Houston Hoops Syntex Miller that, I mean, they played in one GASO and they're coming to a second one, but they aren't really worried about who's been winning what. They know when they come to a GASO, they're trying to win it, and so I expect a high-level performance from them this week.
Love it. Lyndon?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jameer Major, another guy who won the last time we saw him at a GASO, and that was in San Antonio with GSA. Just a kid, generally I'd describe him as a shot maker. I mean, he's somebody, it doesn't matter if he's coming off a screen, trying to get into the mid-range or the paint even. He's somebody who can put it in the basket very easily. I mean, he's competitive. I mean, when things get tough, he seems to be stepping up in those clutch moments and making good things happen for his team. So I'm excited to get my eyes on him again after a big performance in San Antonio.
Good call. It's going to be fun basketball on BCS. Make sure you are dialed in on the social. Go, Michael.
Real quick before we move on to the ranking stuff, it's hard because we don't like to predict what's going to happen in the brackets, but I'd be remiss, Lyndon, if we didn't just tease what could happen in a second round matchup. At the end of the day, teams got to play, teams got to win, but when you're looking at a potential matchup that you're going to talk about here, it could be electric. You want to talk about your matchup that we missed? Okay. I thought he was just staring at me.
I thought he was frozen. We're good. Yeah. We're good. We're back. Oh, he's gone. He's back.
Okay. I'm back. Just had to dramatic effect. But yes, Dallas Mustang 16s, JL3 16s. I mean, this is the next matchup that we're talking about. That DFW versus Houston at a neutral site storyline. Because Mustangs, when we saw them at the spring championships, they answered the bell. All those dudes, big weekends. JL3, when we saw them down at two cities in Houston at the MI3 Center, they were, stealing the show. This is going to be a heavy hitting matchup, and like obviously we can't say it's going to happen yet because there's still first round games that have to happen and all that stuff. But it's going to be the highlight of the weekend if we do end up getting this, and there's going to be a ton of eyes, not just us, not just media, but college coaches tuned into that one as well. I guarantee it.
For
My
sure.
kid
Yeah,
may
I'm
tap into
excited.
that one. Baller TV. Just kind of have it on.
If it happens, if it happens, if it
Yeah.
happens.
It's got to happen. It's got to win some games. Anything can
Yep.
happen at GASO. It matters here. Let's talk a little rankings. Okay, let's talk about a personal riser. We've been working in the lab, putting together our 26 rankings, which is quite a task. I mean, we've seen a lot of kids make some significant leaps, and that's who we're talking about today. Who is a guy specifically that has made an impact on you? Michael, I'm going to pass this one to you to start.
Yeah, Josh Weems, Anthony Edwards, 5 Texas. Not only did he do it at our stage in key moments, but you could just see that he went to Adidas and started doing the same thing. I like when some of these regional prospects go to these national circuits and start to get talked about. And it's never like, we're never going to look at it like, yeah, guys, we've been seeing this. It's just great to see the consistency because that's what we're looking at. We have no narratives here. So we're not being like, why are y'all now talking about him? We're not like, oh, we slept on. It's good to see a kid like Josh go and be consistent and continue to do what we saw because that helps us evaluate him even more. So he's been able to do that. We know he can put the ball in the basket, but just his intangibles and willingness to like be tough down the stretch to try to find ways to win games. And that's just what you want a leader to do. And as we look at this 2026 class, we're starting to look for those intangibles. The word upside shrinks every single second you continue to grow through this. So we're like, all right, what are some ways you're affecting winning? Because when recruitment time's here, that's what college coaches are looking at as well. And Josh has continued to do that. So I want to make sure that I talked about him a lot this morning in our meeting. And for good reason. And y'all kind of agreed with what I was saying. So it was great.
Yep. It's fun when it goes like that. Lyndon, you have two guys who are going to be debuting themselves in the top 10. Who are they?
Yeah, it's Aziz Olajuwon and Bryson Howard, and watching them during the season and seeing the progress that they made, especially towards the end, had a lot of success, especially with Bryson leading Heritage to their first ever regional championship, made it to that state semifinal game against Birdville. But this spring, both of those dudes have been undeniable. Aziz was amazing at Two Cities One GASO, has continued to produce 6'6", 6'7", long arms, huge frame, and at one of the purest shots you're going to see. I mean, just an automatic, stretches the floor, but also is physical enough to score. And then Bryson, during this last live period, I think a lot of people around the state realize what we'd been saying for a long time is that this kid can do it all. Obviously, he has the pedigree, but also he's got the talent and the upside to show that at the highest level on the EYBL, and has benefited from the spot he's in this season, specifically in the grassroots cycle. So both of those guys are going to make their debut in the top 10. If you want to see exactly where, you got to subscribe to the Fast Break. But that'll be out Friday, and you can see where everybody in this 2026 class lands.
Yep, love that. And I want to just touch a little bit more on Bryson. I think a lot of kids could learn from him. If you watch him, his mindset's just a little different, and it may be because he had the benefit of growing up with I believe his dad made an NBA All-Star game, like an All-Star. And when it just comes to his mindset, he doesn't take basketball for granted in any way, shape, or form. He goes out there and competes every single game. And when you see a kid that high level, this will be the third, rendition of the rankings where he just continues to skyrocket up. I had a college coach ask me, like, who are some names that you think are going to make the leap before all this happens? And he was one of the names I had circled of just like, hey, pay attention to the guy, pay attention to this guy, beat other teams to the punch because it's not going to be long. So it's really fun to see all that come to fruition. And I think the biggest thing, like Bryson always had the tools, I think his mindset of just the consistency, he's just passing guys. And that's what you do when you have that type of mindset. So I'm going to hop in here and talk about Jonathan Fox. Carter Elite Crowley, he'll be debuting in the rankings for the first time. I hadn't seen him, honestly, until King of the Court. And this kid is a high flyer athlete, can make plays in transition, and he seems to only be scratching the surface of what this kid can actually be down the road. He's got size, athleticism, as I mentioned, can knock down a shot. He's got a lot of things coaches look for at the next level, and he is getting that number by his name for the first time, and rightfully so. But we also had to watch a lot of film. You know, we didn't get the luxury of, you know, watching 3 or 4 of these teams all the time. So we had to go into our Synergy account. We had to go on Baller TV, and we had to watch some players that we may have missed in an event or something along those lines. So this segment is Film Don't Lie. Who are the guys that popped in film for you that are standing out in the rankings? And Lyndon, I see you totally did some extra credit where Michael and I have 1. Lyndon has 4. So you're going to start and you're going to do 2 guys, and then me and Michael are going to go.
Yes, some people were enjoying their Memorial Day weekend, and I was grinding some tape trying to get these rankings squared away. But yeah, we're gonna spread the love and you know, give each one of the major cities, each one of their guys, guy that I liked with what I saw on film. And we're gonna start with Logan Gonzalez out of Cibolo Steel for San Antonio, and just, you know, you see when you look at stats, he's shooting 46% from 3. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds about right, because he is, you know, a top 3 shooter in the state of Texas, and I wouldn't put him at 3 in this class. But, you know, it's how he gets those shots. He's doing it. It's not just it's on volume is the thing. He's being able to run off stuff and catch and set his feet and knock down shots, and that's something that, like, more than anything else, like, you can be a great shooter, but if you're doing it consistently at this level and getting actual, you know, translatable shots that will go over when you're coming off a double stagger in a college basketball game, like, yeah, it's going to look great to college coaches, and that's what translates for him.
He's a true specialist. Like, people throw that word around. Logan's a specialist.
Yeah. And then I'll go staying down that way. Marcus Zeeley from the Austin area with ASAC has just been a monster this spring. The physicality as a guard, his ability to get downhill and just make good things happen, has added some balance. He's added a little bit of skill. His progression is exactly where I think it needs to be. But obviously, when you look the way that he does as a physical guard who can just, you know, guard 94 feet, be a dog in transition, but also, you know, make good things happen and create for teammates on the offensive end, you're always going to have a lot of college coaches interested. And he's been one of the names that's really come up a lot when we're talking to college coaches this spring.
Love it. Mike?
Yeah, Amari Guerrera of Pro Skills EYBL out of the San Antonio area at Antonian. He leads the EYB on steals. So when I'm looking at that, I'm looking at what some of these steals are. And his just knack for finding the ball is uncanny. And you have to. He's always going to probably be the smaller guard on the court, but he starts off by picking up 94 feet. He knows leverage. He knows angles. He just knows how to be physical. I mean, he's not a skinny guy by any means. Like, he has a frame on him, even though he's 5'8", 5'9". But his ability, just amazing hands on the defensive side. When they're in the half-court set, his IQ, he's a point guard, but he also knows kind of how things are set up when he's playing defense. So in help side, he knows when to take his chances and his risks. And when you go look on the offensive side of things, I'm watching how he's finishing against EYBL bigs. And he has just a layup package unlike any other. His ability to go scoop layup over the top on pick and rolls. If somebody goes under, he's quick enough to get a shot off from 3. I mean, he's just super skilled, and he's just one of those guys we talk about, especially in the 2026 class. There's a lot of small guards out there that have to continue to be undeniable every time out. and he's done that. I mean, he was on a heater in one of the games I'm watching, and I see the opposing coach continuously look at his assistant coaches and like, who the hell is this kicking our ass? And it's just like, and that's what it has to be at that size. You have to be undeniable, and undeniable means you want to prove a point every time you're out there. And I think he continues to do that.
He's so creative. He's so creative with the ball in his hands. I love watching that kid. Really, really special player. Great call out, Mike. I'm gonna go with Devin Kirk. You know, I meant to see him last season. I think I saw Red Oak or cross paths with him once or twice, and he was injured. Tuned into a game at Under Armour, and Devin's a fingerprint guy. And what I mean by that is his fingerprints are on the entirety of the game. Like he may not have these gaudy scoring numbers or these gaudy, you know, he reminds me of this like Andre Karolinko. Like he just fills a lot of stats in a lot of places, and he's got ridiculous length. He can play the one. He can play on the wing. He does a lot of stuff. He's very dynamic. I saw him make a play today that only his length could make. Like he was going for a rebound and got tipped out of bounds, and he takes one step, dives, and catches it with his rangy arm and throws it. And I'm just like, how did you pull that off? But he's just a guy who, you know, college coaches, make sure that you're putting a magnifying glass on Devin, because if you're watching, you're realizing how impactful this kid is and how much he actually gets done on the court. And he's just a winner. Even if his stats are, you know, 4 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, you're like, man, you just impacted the whole game. So I really enjoyed watching Devin today. And that's a guy who you have to zoom in on to understand the true value of what type of player he is. Why don't you finish this up, Mr.
Sure.
Extra Credit?
Good gosh.
Yeah. Next guy that you're going to talk about, William Malumba, out of Houston, PSAT. With the blue chips, saw him at War Before the Storm, went and, you know, double checked my work and saw some film, and, you know, the physicality obviously jumps straight out at you. And he's a guy that's capable of playing volleyball on a basketball court because he's spiking everything that comes his way. You know, if you're not coming strong to the hole, like he's going to hit it 3 rows deep in the bleachers. And that as a rim protector, those instincts, and especially when you add big time rebounding and lob threat ability on the offensive side, I mean, this guy's, I mean, his trajectory is getting higher every game that I see him play, because he's just, you know, one of those bigs that just always seems to be impacting the game inside the paint, and that's, you know, a lost art. And, you know, with how guard oriented this game is, as things currently stand. And I'll finish up by talking about Lamine Foon out of Anna, a guy who we saw at the spring championships with AE5, and he was great. You know, I remember him as a sophomore. He was a beanpole at 6'10".
You and I were watching him on Green 3. I'll never forget. We were like, that kid has a chance, but like he's got to get better. Like he's got to get better.
Yeah. And here we are 18 months later, and he's able to put the ball on the floor. He's able to knock down shots with some consistency. He's going to make a huge jump in the rankings. He was around 100 last time. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's going to make a significant jump into the meat of these rankings in the 2026 class, which again, you can see if you subscribe to the GASO Fast Break. It'll be out this Friday, 9 a.m. sharp.
Lyndon's gotten a lot better at like plugging those little like, if you subscribe. Since I've
picking
been
the spots.
I love it. I love it. So make sure you're subscribed, because the rankings are dropping. But that's not all, man. Like we are writing about all these players. Lyndon does an incredible job every week. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram. I got an Instagram. Sorry if like there's some clunkiness. Michael's really helping me build my tableau of my grid. Tableau. That should be points for using that on a GASOcast. We're getting there.
That's a crazy word.
Make sure you're following us. We love what we do here. We love advocating for you, and we'll see you this weekend. Have a great one.